Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm really excited for today's video. I'm going to be adding a rear entertainment screen and control panel to the back of my Model Y. I'm really excited for this upgrade. It's something that I've seen all over the internet. Other Tesla models come equipped with rear screens, so I'm really excited to get this installed in my Model Y. As we walk through the product, I'm going to be showing you guys all of its features, all of the things you can do with it, and kind of talk about if I would recommend it or not. Let's get into it. So let's jump right into it. I'm really excited to install this in my Model Y. This is something, again, I've been looking at for a long time. I think that some of the other Tesla models, the upgrades, the X, the S, have some rear entertainment screens in them. So I'm excited to kind of emulate some of that, give my rear passengers some control over their air conditioning, some of the seat movement, let them watch some videos. So I'm really excited to jump into this, go over its install, go over its features with you guys. I received this product from T-Vibe. T-Vibe X is their actual website, but they reached out to me and asked me if I'd like to review their new generation of their 8.6-inch Ultra screen. So I'm really excited to get into it. Big thank you to T-Vibe X for sending this over to me. Link to this product will be included down in the description, as well as my discount code, but we'll go over those at the end of the video. So let's jump into this. Now, kind of one of those boxes that has a nice kind of vacuum seal on it, so it just takes a second to pry open. The box. There you go. It's like unboxing a new pair of shoes. So a pretty unassuming box to start with. You get a nice kind of foam protection all over it. And I love how it's packaged. It's really safe wherever it comes from you or however it gets shipped to you. So you get a box. So you get a little bag of goodies here. We'll get into all those wires in a little bit. And you actually get the screen itself. So let's pop out one of these sides. And it's really nicely encased in kind of this closed cell foam on each side. You get a nice kind of cutout on that side. And a nice cutout on this side. We'll get some of these packages out of the way here. I'm going to bring back this foam topper so we can set it down on it without damaging the screen. Okay. So let's take a look at what this looks like. There. This is the back of it. And as we flip this around, you'll see, turn it over, this is the screen. Gosh, it's a lovely, huge 8.66-inch 1080p 4K display is what they claim on their website. I absolutely love it. I think looking at some of the features here, you get your kind of directional controls, and they go up and down now. So that's kind of a nice touch. Some of the older generations of these didn't have that up and down direction of this, but this one does. 2 USB-C charging ports on the front. Love that. And overall, I just think it's a really nice looking screen. Installation for these actually couldn't really be any easier. They're so simple now. There's only a few wires we have to run. I'm going to walk you guys step by step how to do that. So that's kind of the whole screen there. So let's set that down out of the way. And we'll talk about some of the wires that came with it. And it's really just one wiring harness. You get one wiring harness here with a couple plugs to plug everything in. This is an interesting one. A little kind of resistor cap is what I understand this to be. So we're going to be taking off a wire inside the Tesla and then just capping it with this because we're not going to be using that wire anymore. Love when they include a trim tool for you to actually pop off the one panel we're actually going to have to pop off for this install. And then a nice USB-C to run regular USB adapter in case you need to charge your phones that way. So you can actually use these down here to charge if you have the old USB-C style or USB style charging port. That's it. The last thing in the box is a user manual. It talks to you about how to kind of do some of the settings, go through everything, really kind of make it your own. You can control the heated seats from the rear now. You can do all kinds of different cool stuff. See what that is there. Yeah, we'll get into all these features. We'll talk all about this as we get to the product install, but I'm super excited to head over to the Tesla and let's see what it takes to install this thing. So before starting any kind of installation process, especially when you're doing anything electronic in the car, I like to power off the car the best I can. Coming down here into the menu, going down into safety, and scrolling all the way in the bottom, you'll actually see a power off button. So we're going to go ahead and click that. Do you actually want to turn the power off? And we do. So we're going to turn the power off to the car. Kind of turns off your HVAC system, some of the other components. The lights in the car kind of stay on, but that's okay. We've done the best we can with turning power off to the extra components. Let's hop in the back and see what it takes to install this screen. So we're in the back of the Tesla now, and the first step is really going to be removing kind of your old housing here. This is only just held in by clips, so nothing too crazy here. You don't even need the trim tool to pry this off. you just actually get a good grasp on it. On the sides here, you should be able to just give it a little tug. And there you go. It pops right out. Careful in here because there is a cord connected at the bottom here. So if you turn this around, you can kind of see how this is held on. And there's a little clip. If you raise this little tiny clip on the back here, you might need your trim tool for this, but raise it up, and then it should be able to slide right out. There you go. And this is actually going to be the cord that we're going to be capping with that little resistor piece, I called it. So just make sure this doesn't fall down into the back here. So we got that front cover off, and I just moved the camera down. We're going to be working underneath this panel. This is going to be where our main wiring harness plugs in. So what you're actually going to need is take your trim tool that they provided for you, and there's 5 clips kind of around the outside here, and I think one in the middle, if I remember right. So we're going to just kind of working our way in nice and gentle. I don't want to, mar up this panel or anything like that. There we go. Okay. Just a little bit of fiddling to get it all loose, but there you go. And I want to show you guys what this looks like. So you have 1 clip in the middle, and then I think 5 around the outside. Take a look, make sure nothing's kind of in the way, and looks great. So then you'll see our blue, they call this the ODB port, or OBD. I'm not sure which way it's pronounced, but this is where our main wiring harness is going to be plugged in. We're going to fish some wires up through, if we can, this way, or we might have to remove this actual panel right here, but it's just a couple T20 screws if you want to do it that way. Let's see if we can do it without doing that. So a quick overview again, like we just said, we're going to be taking out these 2 screws, which will help us remove this kind of trim panel here. I'm going to back up a little bit so you can see where I'm working on. That's the next step. So we got those T20 screws removed. The next step is really just kind of disengaging this little panel. And it should just be a simple kind of pop off with more clips. If I understand it right, well, there you go. Just be careful, a little bit of force. And you can see there's just 6 more clips holding this little additional trim panel on. That gives us access to run our wires right up behind it, and then we're easily just going to pop this back on when we're done. So really, what you next want to do is get your wiring harness. We're going to unfold it here, and I want to show you where some of the different ports go real quick. You have your actual jumper side down here, which is going to be plugging into that blue ODB port at the bottom. And don't worry, there's plenty of room to fit all this stuff in there. And then this side is what's going to be kind of routed up, essentially behind that trim panel we just removed. Both of these plug right into the back of the new screen. So couldn't be simpler. I'm going to move the camera down, so we're going to unplug that blue ODB port and plug in the new harness. So to unplug this port, I find it much easier if you just use a trim tool and put it in this way, push in on this blue side, and then you can kind of unplug the port right there. These are kind of really short wires, so don't move them around a ton. But then you're actually just going to take your little jumper cable here that comes in a male and a female end. The female end plugs into the male end of the car, so you hear a nice satisfying click. Make sure you have it the right way. There you go. And then the male end is going to go into the female end on the car. So you hear that click. There you go. And there's plenty of room for these wires here. Just kind of tuck them in underneath here. The rest of it is really going to be this whole extension cord. The rest of it's just going to be under that trim panel. So I think you can kind of start buttoning some of these things up now. We'll get that trim panel back on, and then the bottom trim panel, and we'll keep working on, then we'll install the screen. So I have the trim panel that we're going to be putting back, and just make sure that we have the excess cord up running through it. It's the whole reason we removed it. And it's just kind of going to be sitting right back above that other wiring harness, and we'll put those screws back in just a second. And make sure you also have the old cord up under here as well. Everything we're just kind of putting back to how it was. So kind of line up those clips. Let's see if we can figure this out. And you should get some nice clicks back up in the top and along the bottom. We got our 2 wires ran out the top here, which you probably can't see on camera. We got our 2 wires ran out the top, the old wire, which we're not going to be using, the new wiring harness, and we just clipped everything back in. The next step is putting back in those T20 screws and reinstalling this trim cover down at the very bottom. Let's do that. We got 1 screw in. Quickly put the other one back in down here. All right, we got our screws back in. I know I don't have the best shot of this, but you're just going to have to trust with what I'm telling you. So now we have our lower kind of kick panel and we're just going to kind of put it right back on this cover. There should be plenty of room in there for all those wires. Just make sure they're not, you know, tucked in or going to catch anything as you're putting your trim cover back on. There you go. You're hearing all the clips go back on. Nice and smooth. All right, let's back the camera back out and we'll work on plugging in these ports into the screen. All right, so just a super quick recap of where we are. We took off both the actual trim pieces at the bottom, plugged in the new wiring harness, and routed them up behind this wiring, or the actual trim cover. So super simple so far. Next thing we're going to add is this little capping wire, and we're going to just put it on the actual harness that was on the original air vent duct. We're not going to need it anymore, so we're just going to line it up like this. Make sure that clip is going the right way. Plug it in. Maybe you have to raise that clip just a little bit, and then you get to a nice satisfying click. You won't be needing this wire anymore with this new screen. So we'll tuck that off to the side. The next step is really plugging in your new screen, getting your connections made here. So let's take a look and see what's on the bottom of this one, and I'll show you guys where to plug these in. We have two plugs here, a white one and a black one. On the back of your screen, you'll see that it comes with a black wire coming off of right here, and that's where your black wire is going to plug in. So just find the right side. It's a 6-pin connector, and we're just going to plug those in so you get that nice kind of click. Perfect. Then you have this white kind of wiring harness, and on the back of your screen here, if you can see down on this side is a little port, a little white port. And so we're just going to line it up the correct way. It looks like it's this way, and you might not be able to see me do this on camera, but I'm going to try to do it. Right there. Nice satisfying click. So awesome so far. And your screen's lighting up, turning on. Always a good sign when you're doing these kinds of installs, and I love it. 2 tips that I want to give you when you're installing this is this screen already comes with the clips right here and right here. So you're not going to need them on your car anymore. So this one and this one. So take a second and pry these out. These are going to stay with your original cover here. If you ever want to put it back on for any reason, you might need a pair of pliers for this. I'm going to try to use this trim tool real quick. See if I can pry these out. As if you're putting it in there, your new screen, if you're putting it in there, you're just going to fight, you know, trying to get it to seat in here because it's already got these clips on it. You don't need another pair. Find the best way to do this. Maybe just pushing from the back with the trim tool. There you go. So push from the back with your trim tool, and that helps get them out. 1. There's number 2. Cool. All right, so set those off to the side. After that, we're going to tuck, you know, a lot of these wires you're not going to need anymore, so tuck them back down and kind of down in this little trim panel, and they'll be just fine. They're just going to sit down in this trim area, protected. No one's going to bother them, and they're not going to rattle around. There's some pressure on there. So just keep them tucked in here. As you're taking your screen, make sure these wires are out of the way. Tuck down in that little back pocket underneath here. You can go ahead and install your screen. Then nice satisfying kind of clicks in there. Love it. Looks great. So far, it's turned on. I'm happy with that. Love the functionality here. I have these seats moved pretty far forward, so when I move back, we'll get some shots of that, of how I have the seats set up for me and my wife, but we're kind of set up right there. So now that we walked through all of the installation process, like I said, it's been a few days since I installed the screen. I really wanted to get some hands-on time with it so I could come back and really demonstrate all of its features and all of the product abilities to you guys. So the first thing we're going to walk through is all of the controls along the bottom here, all these different icons and what they do. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the other features, how you can pull down from the top, some of the settings you can change, and all that good stuff. So the first thing I wanted to show is this fan screen we're on right here, which is your HVAC control screen. Your rear passengers are now able to turn on the rear fan whenever they want by pushing the power button. You get some nice airflow out of the back here. I absolutely love that. You can control your fan speed on this left side here, and then your temperature setting on the right side here. This controls the temperature setting for the whole car. It's not like independent like dual zone climate control or anything like that. You're just changing the temperature in the whole car. The Model Ys don't have like a rear HVAC system built in or anything like that. So that's all that's doing. You can turn it on auto mode. Then all of your options that you can normally change in the front of the car are also back here. There's a an ionizing mode you can turn on, a keep mode, which I love that feature for like going to garage sales or quick trip into the store. You can keep your climate controlled. Dog mode for when you want to show up on the screen. Camp mode, we've used that before and love it. Then a child lock. If you don't want your child messing with all these settings back here, you can easily lock that, and they provide you a code in all the instructions. I love that my rear passengers now have the ability to turn on their air conditioning, control their fan speed as much as they want, control some temperature in the car. Really nice feature, because previously the only way to turn on the rear fan was to do it through several button presses up on the main screen. You'd have to navigate in your HVAC, rear, power on, and it kind of took a lot. And my son would ask us all the time, "Hey Dad, can you turn on the fan for me?" And now he can do it himself. Love that feature. The next icon we're going to be reviewing is this one with the little heat seat markers. Now your rear passengers are able to turn on their heated seats whenever they want, and I love that. The rear passengers can also turn on the front and passenger driver seats for whatever reason, but I love that if you come back here and you say your rear passenger is sitting kind of in the middle or where I am, click the button, it turns on your heat seater, your seat heater right on the bottom there. Same here. And you can control the intensity of it by just multiple taps. 1, 2, 3, and turn it off. 1, 2, 3, and turn it off. Super cool feature, having their ability to be able to do that on their own. I absolutely love that, not asking the driver to do it again for them. And then you can turn them all off. So say you turn on all of these, and you want to turn them all off at once, you just hit close all. So super cool. The next button right over next to it is the passenger seat movement. And I think this is such an underrated feature. If you do a lot of like Uber or anything like that, and you have guests getting in and out of the car and they need some more legroom, you can easily adjust the right passenger seat movement, left, right, and move the back left and forward. So that's such an awesome feature, and I really, really like the ability to do that. And you can't do it to the driver's seat. So they can't come back here and mess with your driver's seat or do a lot of crazy movement there. That's really cool. You can also open your glove box back here if you're really into that, or if you have a reason to do it from the rear seat for whatever reason, you can open your glove box with that button. These two icons in the middle do a kind of pseudo massage feature. I think it just activates the lumbar up and down and up and down. I don't like messing with that a whole lot. When we used it, it didn't really give too much of an effect, so I didn't really like it a ton. Moving on to the next button, a little music note. This allows your rear passengers to turn up the volume as well as go to the next song, kind of control a little bit of the music that's going on in the car. Maybe not so great if you have little ones that just keep turning up the music and changing its song on you. Just don't tell them about that feature. But it's great. Again, if you have rear passengers that are wanting to play DJ, they can turn up the volume, change the song, go back, pause, play, all those kinds of cool features. And it turns up the volume seamlessly in the whole car. I don't want to turn up the volume to get any sort of copyright strikes or anything like that, because I have, looks like a Justin Timberlake song playing right now. But that's what that screen's for. It's a really nice feature. The next button, which looks like a grid of apps, is exactly that. These are the apps that come installed on this Android screen. The music, car info, the gallery, file managers, Android Auto, your Chrome, your Play Store to get more apps, YouTube, Netflix, TikTok. And this is one we'll come back to a lot, this Bluetooth transmitter. This is where you're going to control where the sound is coming from this screen. You can transmit the sound to the car speakers. You can transmit the sound to some Bluetooth headphones. Absolutely love that feature for my little guy when he's back here. Or if you turn off all the Bluetooth, there's speakers built into the screen at the bottom here, kind of along the sides here, where the sound comes out. And it's super cool. There's lots of easy ways to have your passengers listen to what they want to. You can have it play over the whole car if you want. It's really cool. I'll show you guys all that in a little bit. Those are kind of all your apps. Next over here, the actual play button is just a shortcut menu to get into Netflix, YouTube, TikTok, or play local videos off like an SD card. I've messed around with both YouTube and Netflix. I don't do anything with TikTok. I'm not a huge fan of it, but Netflix and YouTube work great. We watched some YouTube in the car. My little son was able to control it, find a YouTube video, and it was just playing through the car speakers, or not the car speakers, but the screen speakers here, and it worked flawlessly. I like that a lot. And last but not least is your actual settings, your settings icon. Everyone should be familiar with what that is. This is set up kind of for me. I played with some of these settings, changing it to Fahrenheit because I'm in old freedom units in the United States. Time format, my time zone, all that kind of good stuff there. So walking along the settings menu is very intuitive. It's very clean. I love how it's set up. It makes perfect sense to me how things work. It's very responsive. It responds right away. There's not a lot of lag when moving through the menus. So super cool. Pulling down from the top here, you get into like the actual, not the software settings, but the device settings. So I have this set up right now on my home Wi-Fi because I'm parked in my garage, but it's easy. When I change this over to my hotspot on my phone that I'm recording on, it instantly changes over and it's no big deal. You just connect it to your hotspot, it's super simple. Let's hold on that. If you've ever connected like an Android phone before, very simple to follow those steps. It shows all the different available Wi-Fi networks when you have your hotspot. It's no big deal. You do not have to come back to this every time you turn on your hotspot. When we got in the car, I popped my hotspot on. The screen back here instantly connected with this little signal up here in the corner. And you can see that it was connected right to my hotspot. So really, really convenient. Go back home here. Pulling down again, if you go into your Bluetooth menu, this is where you can see what devices you have paired. You can pair this screen device to a couple different things, and I'll walk through this in a little bit. I've paired it to my son's Bluetooth headphones, and I've also paired it to my Tesla, the actual main screen of my Tesla. And depending on where you want the sound to come from, that's where you'd go into that Bluetooth transmitter app that we showed earlier, and that's where you would actually transmit the sound. Right now, it's not transmitting to anything. That's your Bluetooth menu. Car settings. This is where I changed a lot of the time, some of the display, the brightness of the backlight, those kinds of things. And I just have it set on automatic. That's kind of what I like. Sleep settings, car settings, navigation settings. I don't really mess with a whole lot of that. Under more settings, this date and time is where I was able to change the time to find exactly what I needed to customize the time and make sure it's the right date. Close everything here. Sound settings, if you want to change the volume. So I messed with this a little bit. And so this master volume seems to be the only way to change the volume that's coming out of the speakers here, as well as what's being broadcast to your Bluetooth devices. So this master volume is the one that I've kind of set at about 30, works for me. It's not too loud back here when it's coming out of the device speakers, and it seemed enough adjustability on my son's Bluetooth headphones where he could be comfortable. It wouldn't be too loud. Moving to the next one, system optimize. That's just going to clean up kind of our apps and everything like that, stuff that we've opened, make sure everything's closed, no big deal. And then close the screen to kind of close everything down. So really nice, really intuitive features. It just makes a lot of sense. It's exactly like you'd expect from setting up a smartphone, either an iPhone or an Android, or an iPhone or an Android phone. It makes a ton of sense to me. I want to show you guys some of the sound settings now, because I think that's what a lot of people are going to be interested about, is their lag, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go through some frequently asked questions here and get some things set up, and we'll be back with those. All right, so the first thing I want to show you guys is really some of the video streaming options. And so I want to show you how the quality of the video streaming, it looks excellent even when you're on a hotspot. And then I really want to talk about some of the sound settings, about how you get the sound to different places. This took me a little while to figure out, so hopefully some of these tips are helpful to you guys. If we hop over here into the actual YouTube menu, and hopefully I have a video pulled up. This is just my channel. Right now I have the sound set to come out of the speakers, and I'll show you how to change where you really want the sound. But as I hit play here, hopefully you can hear that. I have the microphone attached to me, but hopefully you can hear that as well. Just to get an idea of the sound quality. It's actually really crisp. It's really nice. It's durable. The connectors just feel really solid right off the. So I'm going to pause that, and so you can kind of see the quality of the channel. It's great. Right now it's set at a nice HD settings. When you're on your hotspot, it's going to default to a lower resolution when you're watching YouTube. 99% of people won't care. My son's not going to care if he's watching YouTube, someone unbox some random toys or something like that. But if you want to change it, you can easily come up to the settings. Everyone knows how to use YouTube, and change it to a higher resolution. When you're listening to the sound via the speakers, there's zero lag. It's awesome. There's zero lag on the sound when it's coming through the actual screen speakers. That changes when you change it to broadcast through your actual car. So what I want to do now is show you that difference here. So if I go into my apps, and I go to this Bluetooth transmitter, this is really what's deciding where the sound's going. I figured out these buttons over here. I guess they're a little bit blurry on my phone. I apologize for that. But once you pair your Bluetooth devices to your car, it's super simple. These are my son's Bluetooth headphones. This is our Tesla. This is like your device. This is the button you'd push if you want to broadcast the sound to those devices. This is the button you push when you want to disconnect the sound from those devices. So let's say I'm watching this YouTube video. I want the whole car to hear it. I'm going to select Tessie. I'm going to select our car. Now it's a nice blue feature. Let's go back into the YouTube. And now the sound should be coming out through the whole car speakers, which I have turned all the way down. So let me reach over and scroll down the wheel. Now, I'm not sure if you can hear that differently, but the sound is now coming out of the car speakers. I connected the car to my Bluetooth up front, and I selected that Bluetooth device instead of my phone. There's definitely a lag, and I know you probably can't see it on this screen, but let me get to a part where I'm talking at the camera, and maybe you can see that there's a little bit of a lag. There you go. It can also really come in handy at like a hotel, like a destination. So if you can tell from there, it's me talking, but there's probably a good half a second lag between what shows up on the screen and what comes across on the actual car speakers. So that's just a limitation of the technology. I don't know if there's a way to improve that or slow this down a little bit, but that's what's going on there. There's just that limitation. When you're broadcasting the sound from the Bluetooth device over to the car speakers, there's about, I would say a half a second of lag. Definitely bearable, but if you're trying to watch a movie back here, definitely recommend probably wearing Bluetooth headphones or actually just listening to it from the sound speakers here. They're actually pretty good. You're not going to get blown away by the bass or anything crazy like that. That's a nice feature. So now the sound is coming over the car speakers. And say I want to change it back. I'm going to go to my apps, Bluetooth transmitter. See how this one's highlighted in blue? Come down here to this little disconnect button. So now it should be disconnected. So if we go back into the YouTube and we're listening to it. Cons. Yep, sound is coming back out of the speakers underneath the screen here. It's a really nice way to change where you want the sound to come from. No big deal there. The fact that it doesn't. So these are my son's Bluetooth headphones. I know I'm super close to the camera there, but I'm just going to turn them on, holding these front and left buttons. They say power on, ready to pair, super simple. And they said connected. So you see this little icon come up at the bottom of the screen, something in Chinese or Japanese. That shows that the headphones connected. So they connected right away to the screen. I just turned them on once. There wasn't anything else I had to do. And now they're connected. So when I play the video, I have the headphones on my head. I know you guys can't hear that, but I'm going to bring them down to hopefully the speaker. So I'm not sure if you can hear that or not, but the sound is definitely coming through the headphones now. When I power these off, which I'm doing right now, holding the buttons to power them on, is a fantastic investment. Changes right back to the screen sound. So I'm not sure if that comes across super well on camera, but it's very simple to set up. Pause myself again. So it's super simple to set up. And again, you just turn on the headphones, they pair instantly. We actually went and got a second pair of those headphones. They're like $15 on Amazon to keep in the car. And we're going to keep them in one of those front storage drawers that we have underneath the car there. Like my T-pose on the screen. But that's going to be our car headphones. And it's actually going to be super convenient whenever he wants to watch something back here on maybe a short drive. We'll bring his actual headphones connected to his Bluetooth tablet. But we'll also have a set of headphones in the car at all times that we can just throw back to him here and he can watch whatever he wants back here. Love that feature. Another feature I want to show you guys real quick is just the standby screen. I know there's bad glare on it right now, but this is just the standby screen. Whenever you're driving around, you don't have any of the menus pulled up. This is what it looks like. The clock, the date, the time, and then just easily push any of the buttons and it brings the screen right back to life. So it's kind of that screensaver mode it was talking about. But again, a nice feature. Well, that about wraps up this kind of overview and install of this rear entertainment screen from T-Vibex. I really appreciate them sending this over to me. This product is kind of a game changer for the car. I know I say that a lot, but I really like having the functionality that this provides, that gives your rear passengers that extra little bit of control to be able to change their temperature, turn on their seat heaters, move the seats out of the way if they're having trouble with that. Just those features alone, I think it's worth it to have that additional functionality back here. The bonus on top of that is all the apps you can get for your little ones, watching YouTube, watching Netflix, those kinds of things. I know I didn't demonstrate Netflix, but being able to access some of that back here for some of their, longer rides, if you need some entertainment for them or anything like that, it's really nice and convenient. This blends in seamlessly to the way the car is designed. I know I'm overloaded with screens now. I have 3 screens in my Model Y. Most people only have 1. But I really like the functionality, the fit and finish of this. It looks like it was designed for something like this. It's super clean, and I really appreciate that. Again, you guys walked through the install process with me. That couldn't have been easier. It was 2 wires that we had to plug in, and we ran 1 wire up a little plastic trim piece. You're not plugging in any seat controls. You're not running anything to the front of the car. Very, very simple installation. And so I really appreciate, again, that aspect of the product too. Finally, the functionality of it with being able to change where you want your sound output really simply. Once you connect your devices and you connect it to your hotspot, it's very smart. It connects to your hotspot automatically when you're away from your Wi-Fi. It connects to your Bluetooth headphones whenever you turn them on right away. It can connect to your sound over your car speakers when you turn those on. So depending on how you want to use this screen, if you want to watch, listen to a movie while you're driving and you want to listen to the new Transformers 1 or something like that while your son's watching it in the back, you can do that. If you want him to just have his headphones on and then you can listen to music throughout the car still, you can do that as well. Or if you just want the speakers on from the actual screen itself, they work great. They sound fine. They're not going to blow your ears off with bass or anything like that, but they're really nice, high quality speakers too. I really appreciate, again, this product from T-Vibex. If you're interested in something like this product, they gave me a discount code to share with you guys. Gamble 1080. It's right here on the screen. Use that discount code and you can save significantly off the price of this rear entertainment screen. And I'll make sure I have a link to it down in the description too. Big thank you to them for sending this over. It would really mean a lot to me if you guys check out that discount, check out that product, link in the description. Use that discount code if you're interested in something like this. It really helps out the channel a lot. Lastly, feel free to like and subscribe. At the end of these videos, I always have a playlist with all of my Tesla videos. I think I'm up to 30 something now. But take a look at those. It really helps me out. Subscribe helps me out a lot too. If you like this content, it helps me bring you guys more product reviews. What else do you want to see? Do you have any questions about this product? Do you have any questions about the install? Happy to do follow-up videos on anything else I've done. Just let me know. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Thanks again for coming out to the channel and checking it out. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one.